Hello, Grant.
Hello, Gail. How are you?
Nice to see you. So
Yes.
I wanted to have this conversation because quite a few people ask me, what is Grant doing with refugees and what's Morning Light? So I just thought it'd be really good to be able to have this conversation.
Yes.
So first of all, why do you think it's important to help refugees?
Well, the Bible is quite clear about needing to help those who are immigrants, either refugees or asylum seekers, particularly Moses and Jesus. And in fact, Jesus himself was a refugee. And we can see a whole variety of verses supporting that view that we need to help those around us, and particularly those who are oppressed, who perhaps are fleeing oppression, and help them to live a normal life.
So you've been doing that, and one of the ways you've been doing that is through something called Morning Light. So
Yes.
What is it? How did it start? What does it do?
Well, it started in July 2020, but it really, I suppose the origins of it probably came through friendship with Muslims that existed over about 9 years beforehand.
Okay.
And through that, I've got interested in how they think and the culture. So when it came to what was actually the end of the COVID lockdown, the first COVID lockdown, my pastor had a friend called Abdul, so I went to meet him at the storehouse. I already knew an Egyptian lady called Iman, and so it really started from there. And I met the first family, who I'm very close to these days. The actual name itself really came to me, and I believe it's the name that God gave me, because I didn't think of any other name. The name encapsulates what I believe Morning Light should be, which is light after a period of darkness.
And the refugees you meet have a variety of needs. Can you say a little bit about what those might be?
Yes. So I think the way I've approached it is to not just to assume that there's a sort of standard thing I'll give them or anything like that, but rather to, in the same way that Jesus did, meet them at what they actually want and need to live a life. So but they do come down into various different categories. One is the whole realm of sort of guidance and friendship and relationship. Relationship is a very important thing in Islamic culture, and one of the things I found, that the first families I connected to, they came just before the first lockdown, and effectively put into a house and then left alone completely for about 4 months. So when I started to talk to them, they were very pleased to meet me, and although they had some interaction with people, for example, like the food bank, they really were denying that kind of social contact. The second kind of needs is most of the ones I'm dealing with are council resettled refugees, and they don't really provide furniture. So it's been a fantastic thing that people have given furniture for them, and I'm very pleased with the way that LCC have helped in that. So that's really to improve their lives, and so I've sort of kitted out some of the houses with furniture, also electrical goods as well, because food is a very important aspect, particularly of Syrian culture, and they love to cook and do that sort of thing. So that's another sort of area of need that they've had, just to have the right sort of equipment to cook.
So just to check, the council don't provide any furniture?
Well, the houses they were put in did have furniture, and they counted as fully furnished, but a lot of it is quite inadequate. For example, some of the things they had were broken, For example, one family didn't have any wardrobes. The wardrobe they had was very small and broken, so it didn't have any shelving or anything like that. So unfortunately, you know, this is something that it seems like the council wouldn't provide or money for that. So I've been able to help them in that sort of need.
Yes.
Because in terms of asylum seekers, they're not really given any help at all. So if you like, the sort of need is greater.
Yes. And we talked about practical needs, but I know from my involvement in the Arab English Friendship Group, which is a kind of steering committee of Morning Light, that there's an awful lot of emotional needs, and just the little bit of time I've spent with them, there are all sorts of trauma and challenging things in their past. So the idea of the friendship group, can you say a little bit about what the value of friendship is?
Well, yes, it is a factor in all the families I'm connected to, that they've had a very, very difficult period. Some of the stories I've heard are, in fact, so bad I couldn't repeat them in the public domain, because they're worse than the worst horror story you've ever seen on video. Unbelievable level of suffering. So it is a kind of healing process. I don't provide counselling services because I'm not qualified and I wouldn't know how to do it. But there is a kind of healing process in just relationship and friendship.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, when eating with them, because food is such a serving and giving food and sharing food is such a huge part of the culture. I mean, I was feeling a little bit awkward about going and eating their food if they haven't got very much, but it's actually the reverse, isn't it? You bless them by going, by sharing in their amazing food and developing friendship and listening to them and finding out how their family works and playing with the children. That is really key. So how would you say faith comes into all that? Because obviously we're Christians and they're Muslims, and where's the link there?
Well, I'm very open about the fact I'm a Christian, and they're very welcoming. We do talk about faith, we talk about prayer a lot, we talk about different aspects of church, different ceremonies, and that sort of thing. And as you know, we're doing a course for Friendship First. And in that course, it's very much, you can't reach Muslims unless you're a friend to them. And that's the central part of it. So when we talk about faith, it's a very natural thing that it will just happen at random. For example, at Christmas time, I asked the families, "Oh, do you know the Christmas story?" And they said, "No, we don't." So I went through that, and they were very keen to listen. And I've shared many Bible verses with them, particularly verses to do with their particular situation, either present or in the past, because there is a considerable amount of healing aspects to many Bible verses, in terms of, for example, like David, when he wrote the Psalms, wrote from a position of anguish and loss on many occasions. And this identifies very much with their situation.
Yes, yes. So I know this is not long and there's so much more you could say, but just how can people help in this situation?
I think there are different levels of how people can help. So I think certainly donated things are fantastic, and LCC have very much done that, and other people as well. So that's one sort of practical help that can be given.
So sorry to interrupt you, but if somebody's thinking, oh, I'm replacing my whatever it is, I don't know what to do with the older one, they can contact you, or
yes,
and say, do you think this will be useful?
Yes, yes. I would say that I don't accept everything, and I think it's quite important to give things that, well, basically work, but of
Yes.
course, but also of a certain standard, if you like.
Yes. Yeah.
The other side is what I'm trying to do is get people more involved, and that's quite a difficult task. Partly because I think there's a reticence for people to cross over that perceived barrier that many people think exists. I guess, you know, in my own personal circumstances, I had the opportunity to do that, and I just went for it. And when I created Morning Light, I wasn't thinking, well, a year from now it'll be like this, or 2 years from now it'll be like that. I really didn't know, and then for the first 6 months, I really didn't know how it would progress. I think when Jesus talks about mustard seeds of faith, it's, you know, it's not about taking a huge leap of faith at any point. Often it's very small leaps or steps, and one of those will be just say meeting a family and then talking with them and meeting on an ongoing basis. So
I think sorry to interrupt you again.
No.
It's friendship, isn't it? And
Yes.
at whatever level you choose, we haven't all got loads of time, but still, it's that the time you can give to somebody is reciprocal. And I mean, it's just seeing the love that they have for each other, and the kind of genuineness, and that some of the families, well, everyone I've met, they are so beautiful. They are lovely families, and it's just a pleasure to be with them. So, you know, I'd certainly encourage people, if they want to get involved on a friendship level, it's very incredibly rewarding.
Yes.
So those are the two things. Then it's giving. I suppose you're talking about giving financially as well, and they'll just let you know. Giving items, and that's anything, is it?
Well, electrical goods are quite good, because often people don't think about it. They tend to think of beds and bedding, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But actually, they do use electrical items for cooking. That's quite important aspect of the camp. The alternative, of course, is giving financially, and for anyone doing that, I would, you know, feed back to where the money went and how it was applied.
Yeah, which is always lovely. Brilliant. I know we haven't got a lot of time, but I really appreciate that, Grant. Thank you so much. And see you soon.
Yeah, see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.